Why is it that some of the most powerful gods in history carry a trident? It's not a sword, not a hammer, not a staff. It's something stranger, more ancient. Three sharpened prongs, held by deities who command oceans, summon storms, and transcend death. Poseidon, Shiva, Neptune, even demons and mystics have wielded it. But why the trident? It shows up in cultures that never touched each other, and yet everywhere it appears it's a symbol of mastery, over the elements, over time, over the self. This weapon is older than mythology itself, and its meaning goes far beyond combat. Because once you understand what the trident really represents, you'll never look at it the same way again. If you're drawn to the symbols that shaped our world and the mysteries that still echo beneath it, subscribe. This is Beyond Mythology. The trident isn't just a weapon, it's a signature, a mark of divine authority. Across different cultures, continents, and centuries. In Greek mythology, Poseidon didn't just find his trident lying in the depths of the sea. It was forged by the Cyclopes, the same master smiths who created Zeus's thunderbolt and Hades's helm of invisibility. Three brothers, three divine weapons, three cosmic domains. Poseidon's trident gave him total dominion over the oceans. He could conjure storms, calm the waves, or split the earth open in violent quakes. But its power wasn't about destruction. It was about command, the ability to shape the untamable, to control the chaotic, emotional, ever-shifting nature of water itself, to rule not just the sea, but everything it symbolizes. But halfway across the world, in a completely different tradition, we find the same shape and a completely different interpretation. Shiva, the great ascetic god of Hinduism, wields the Trishula, a three-pronged spear said to pierce through illusion itself. It represents the destruction of the three poisons that bind human beings to suffering: ego, attachment, and delusion. Here the trident doesn't dominate the world, it liberates the soul. It's not a weapon of conquest, it's a tool of transcendence, and yet the shape is the same. Across cultures, the trident becomes a symbol of integration through tension. It's the unification of opposing forces into something higher, a kind of spiritual geometry, a triple alignment that appears again and again in sacred systems. Past, present, future, time unfolding in sequence, creation, preservation, destruction, the rhythm of existence in Hindu cosmology, body, mind, spirit, the full spectrum of human experience, heaven, earth, underworld, the ancient structure of the cosmos. Even in Christian iconography, the number 3 holds power. The Holy Trinity, the 3 days between death and resurrection, the 3 temptations in the desert. In myth, 3 is never arbitrary. It represents a complete cycle, something that has matured, resolved, or reached transcendence. The trident encodes that truth in metal. A straight line splits once, and then again. 2 opposites joined by a third, the path beyond duality. When a god holds a trident, they're not just brandishing power, they're carrying a cosmic equation, one that speaks the language of balance, transformation, and initiation. The number 3 doesn't just echo in myth, it appears in the very structure of reality. Atoms, the building blocks of matter, are made of 3 components: protons, neutrons, electrons. DNA, the code of life, is built from triplet codons, sets of 3 bases that dictate how proteins are formed. In physics, motion is described by 3 fundamental laws. Even the dimensions we live in, length, width, height, form a triad. Across disciplines, 3 isn't arbitrary. It represents stability with dynamic potential. A stool needs at least 3 legs to stand. A signal needs 3 points to triangulate. A system needs 3 parts to evolve: input, process, output. It's as if the universe prefers 3s. So when ancient symbols like the trident emerge with 3 points, maybe it's not just poetic. Maybe it's resonant, with something deeply coded into the way existence unfolds. The trident isn't just echoing mythic triads. It may be tuned to the very pattern behind creation itself. In myth, weapons aren't just tools, they're extensions of the universe. and few symbols carry as much elemental weight as the trident. Its very shape evokes control over the multiple forces of nature. 3 points, 3 directions, 3 dimensions of energy. In many interpretations, the trident represents the mastery over water, fire and air, sometimes even earth, when associated with seismic force. With Poseidon, the meaning is clear. He's not just the god of oceans, he's the one who shakes the earth. When angered, he strikes the ground with his trident, unleashing earthquakes and tsunamis. The message is unmistakable. This isn't just a god of water, it's a god whose emotions move the world. In his hand, the trident becomes a seismic key, able to rupture the foundations of reality. Shiva's interpretation takes it deeper. He is known as the destroyer, but also the regenerator. His Trishula represents fire, not the flame that burns wood, but the fire that burns illusions. When Shiva dances the cosmic dance, the Tandava, it is said the universe is simultaneously destroyed and reborn. His trident doesn't just wield fire, it is the fire of transformation, of inner alchemy. But there's a shadow to this symbol. The trident isn't exclusive to gods. In many mythologies and demonologies, tridents are wielded by chthonic beings, spirits of the underworld, devils, or agents of chaos. Why? Because the trident, like all true symbols, is morally neutral. It amplifies what's already present in the one who holds it. To a god aligned with truth, it channels order through elemental force. To a being driven by impulse or vengeance, it becomes a weapon of chaos and destruction. In ancient rituals, the trident was sometimes invoked not to attack, but to bind, to pierce illusions, or to seal a gate between realms. It was feared not just for what it could destroy, but for what it could reveal. Ultimately, the trident isn't just a weapon of the sea or the flame. It's a symbol of control over the primal elements, not just in nature, but in the self. To wield a trident is to command the chaos within, or unleash it. Not all symbols stay on the surface. Some slip quietly into the shadows, where mystics, alchemists, and occultists reawaken their meaning. The trident is one of those. In many grimoires and esoteric traditions, the trident appears not just as a weapon, but as a magical instrument. It's used in rituals of invocation and protection, often associated with commanding spirits or sealing boundaries between realms. The triple point was believed to pierce not just physical space, but energetic planes, a kind of forked antenna for channeling intention. In alchemical symbolism, the trident takes on a more inward meaning. Each prong represents an aspect of inner transformation: sulfur, the soul; mercury, the spirit; salt, the body. These are the 3 classical alchemical principles, and their balance is the goal of all inner work. The trident becomes, in this sense, a tool for self-mastery, not to dominate nature, but to refine it within. Mystery schools and initiatic paths have also embraced the trident, or at least what it represents. It becomes a symbol of the initiate's journey beyond duality. While most people are caught between opposites, good and evil, light and dark, reason and instinct, the trident evokes a third path, the path of integration. The central point is the axis, the stabilizer, the key to transcendence. Even in tarot, the trident makes subtle appearances. Look at the King of Cups, the ruler of emotional depth, intuition, and the element of water. In many traditional decks, his throne rises from the sea. He holds a scepter or chalice, but beneath the surface, the archetype carries the energy of the trident: calm atop chaos, mastery of feeling, and the silent authority of the subconscious. Some say the 3 lobes of the cloverleaf cross in other cards echo this same triadic energy, veiled but present. Ultimately, the trident becomes a bridge between matter and spirit, between outer power and inner wisdom, between the visible and the unseen. It reminds us that symbols don't just belong to stories. They live in the systems we study and the mysteries we feel. Symbols don't disappear. They evolve, slipping into the stories we tell today, wearing new costumes but carrying the same old meaning. The trident is no exception. In video games, comics, films, and fantasy literature, we still find gods and kings gripping three-pronged weapons, and they almost always follow the same pattern: command, mystery, and emotional depth. Poseidon, or Neptune in Roman lore, has appeared countless times in pop culture. From animated series to role-playing games, he's portrayed not as a gentle sea-dweller, but as a formidable force with tidal moods and tectonic power. Whether as a bearded titan or a younger warrior, his trident is always more than decorative. It signifies control over an unstable realm. The ocean, yes, but also the unconscious mind. In Eastern-influenced media, the Trishula of Shiva emerges in a different light. In games like Smite or anime like Naruto, triple-pronged weapons often symbolize spiritual awakening, divine rage, or hidden power waiting to be unlocked. They're not just weapons, they're thresholds. Modern superheroes have adopted the Trident too. Aquaman, in both comics and film, is perhaps the most iconic. He's not just a water-based hero, he's the bridge between surface and depth, between human and myth. His trident isn't just a super tool, it represents rightful kingship, emotional resilience, and elemental balance. Even villains or ambiguous figures like Hades, especially in stylized or animated versions, are often seen with trident-like scepters. Here the symbol leans darker, not evil, but primordial. Tied to the underworld, yes, but also to the unseen order that holds everything together. So why does the trident still resonate? Because it carries a kind of sacred threat. It's not the weapon of a brute. It's the weapon of one who commands forces bigger than themselves. Tides, time, inner storms. A sword might kill a man, but a trident might shake the world. It's the weapon of those who don't just fight enemies, they fight chaos itself. In ancient rites, weapons weren't just tools of war, they were symbols of passage. The trident, with its 3 points, often marked a threshold, a place where the old self dissolves and something new begins. In some initiatory traditions, the initiate passes through a symbolic death, not of the body but of ignorance, illusion, or fear. The 3 prongs become more than lines of power. They represent the trials one must face to earn access to deeper knowledge. In this light, the trident isn't just a divine object, it's a gatekeeper. 1 point pierces illusion, the second breaks attachment, the third awakens clarity. Together, they initiate a transformation. It's no accident that those who wield tridents in myth are not just warriors. They are threshold figures, gods of the sea, of death, of time, of consciousness itself. To hold a trident is to have crossed over, to emerge with new vision, new responsibility, and a new kind of power. The trident was never about brute strength. It was never about glory, domination, or ego. It was about mastery, but the kind that starts from within. Each of its 3 prongs points not outward, but inward, toward parts of yourself that must be acknowledged, balanced, and aligned. Because the real elements we struggle to command aren't just out there in the world, they're inside us. Your emotions, your impulses, your thoughts. When a god holds a trident, they're not just summoning storms or quelling demons, they're holding the tension between opposing forces and staying centered. So what if the trident isn't just a mythic object? What if it's a mirror? A reminder that power isn't about control, it's about coherence. To hold the trident is to become a channel, where chaos doesn't rule you, but flows through you with purpose. So maybe the real question isn't what the trident means, maybe it's this: which force within you still resists your own divine alignment? Tell us in the comments, and if this myth spoke to something in you, like, share, and subscribe. This is Beyond Mythology.